I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking
Talk Radio.
We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. And Grand Rising. Thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday edition of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we'll be right back with our co-host, Kareem Hamid, after this brief break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's Southside. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money. Yes, you can. And we want to welcome you and invite our listeners to call in and comment 515-605-9325 and press 1 when you're ready to speak as we get ready to bring in our co-host and our American Muslim 360 family right after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. And we are back. You're listening to, yes, walaikum salam. Yes, we are back. and you are listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we've got our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we're so excited because we've got a lot of things that we want to share with you all. But one of the major things is how to be an independent business person, how to become that entrepreneur, that person who is willing to take responsibility for their income. We're going to talk about that today because we've got a special guest, and she is a business development officer at Southside Community Bank. And she will most definitely be giving us some insight. But one of the things we wanted to take a look at is our fear. We have a fear of being independent, being self-sufficient, being self-reliant, and taking responsibility for our own survival. And this is what has kept us in this state of not only dependency, but the victimhood mentality. Everybody's oppressing us and nobody's letting us get ahead. So before our guest comes on, we want to take a look at a few issues that we need to overcome as a collective body, and to get to the point where we are building businesses in our communities, not just talking about it, but really doing it so that we can change our perspective of who we are and the power that we have. So before we get into some specifics, Brother Graham, let me ask you, have you been an independent businessman, or ever did sales or something where you had to generate your own income independent of what anybody else did? You had to be the person who actually attracted the money to yourself, either as a salesperson or a person who provided services, but you had to sell the services. You had to close the deal. Have you ever been in that situation where your income depended on you and not someone issuing you a regular paycheck?
Yes, I have. Praise be to a lot. I have been an independent entrepreneur. My wife and myself, we purchased a business from a business owner that was giving the business up, and it was a restaurant. Its name was Bar Number 3. There were 2 more restaurants that were in that family of bars. The specialty that we served was the Philly cheesesteak, along with other varieties of food. But the signature was the Philly cheesesteak, bean pies, the fish sandwiches, and it really felt good, praise be to Allah, to be independent. We had a profitable business, but there's only one thing: when we open up independent business, here's the flaw that was in my situation. I did not own the building that the restaurant was housed in. It was in a very, very profitable area. Location. It was across the street from a large grocery chain, and it was across the street from a large union hall, the front of it, I believe, the union hall. And now, I'm not promoting alcohol, but it was next door to a liquor store. We drew customers to that store. And my goodness, we did quite well. The only problem was that we did not own the building. And I was informed the owner of the building to sell me of that building. It was located on Greenfield and 7 Mile. For those of you that live in Detroit, I'm not sure you're familiar with that area. Greenfield and 7 Mile. We did quite well, I must say that. But we didn't own the building. And the owner of the building, he had plans of selling that building. And I tried to convince him that I would purchase the building from him. But he had other plans, and he sold the property to guess who? Church's Chicken.
Wow.
And they tore that building because they knew the value of that location. It was a very profitable, and not only were there surrounding a business, it was a residential area also. So we were able to garner that business from people that lived in the area, and those that shopped across the street from us, and those that attended the large Union Hall headquarters. And it felt real, I felt free, you know? I felt free. I could and thank God for my wife, because I wasn't prepared for opening day. Opening day, boy, so many people came in, and I almost freaked out.
Wow.
So her, some of the employees that she had, they was able to handle all of the customers that came in. Matter of fact, it was hard to even close at night. We would be trying to close, and people would come up and knock on the front door for a fish sandwich or a steak sandwich or something. So yes, me being in business for the purpose of earning money, I would briefly open up the door, serve them, and then close that door and shut down. But it was a wonderful experience, praise be for Allah. I tried to find another building, another location, but I was unsuccessful at that. So we had to just let it go, unfortunately. But yes, I have owned a business. My wife and I, Rashida, praise be to Allah, and I cannot thank her enough. She was an excellent accountant. Praise be to Allah, excellent accountant, and kept things financially sound. But so it's an experience in my life that I'll never forget, and I would implore everyone that has that itch, that urge to own your own business. Make sure that if you own that business and it is in a dwelling, inshallah, that you can own the building and the land. But yes, I have my own business. You mentioned also in your opening the fear of opening your own business, being an independent entrepreneur. That means letting go of another habit, letting go of someone else's hand, and you're on your own. But that motivates you to truly focus on the success of your business, because there's no one else to call on other than yourself. So I it's a wonderful experience, one that I'll never forget. And I'm grateful to see that African American women are in the forefront at this time of opening up independent business. And there are African American male entrepreneurs that are opening up their own business. And now we have online, we have internet business, whereby you don't have to have the overhead of brick and mortar, You can actually conduct business right online and advertise your business online. But I caution everyone, here's the mistake that a lot of people make. Make sure that you have a competent tax account. Make sure you pay your taxes. Because usually that is where we neglect to do that, and your business. Owning your own business, basically, to allow bricks and mortar and online. I'll stop right there, Mark.
Yes. Well, you know, that's an important thing for people to understand, that when you are in business, you are responsible for your taxes, your paperwork that connects you to the government and makes you a legitimate entity. And that's often where people fall through the cracks. That's where they have their fears, because too many of us are afraid of official paperwork. And if we don't have a family history of business, sometimes that first entrepreneur in the family does not get the information or encouragement that they need. If everybody in your family has always relied on someone else to issue their paycheck and take care of, you know, withholding their taxes or whatever they're supposed to do, then they are of the impression they don't have the intelligence to do it. And this is why many people fall short of creating the kind of business that could sustain them and sustain other employees and affect a community. One successful business can actually transform a community. It can, and the business that you had, a restaurant, those are the kinds of businesses that actually make a big difference, especially when it comes to generating a traffic flow and getting people to change their direction so they can go to a certain place. Well, then other businesses in that area will thrive also. So this is why developers look at what kind of businesses can attract more traffic and then benefit other businesses. But in order to be that kind of business, you got to do all the necessary things. And I know for a restaurant, you've got to get licenses and health department inspections, and you have to pass building codes. I mean, all of these things. So tell us a little bit about that process. When you all got ready to open the restaurant, what are some of the things you had to do that, you know, took some time and you had to fill out some papers?
Well, you want to, I don't see it too often now, but there was a grading system for restaurants, businesses that serve food. And there was a placard, either placed on the window or inside the building. And it was the grading went from A, B, and C. So make sure that when you call in an inspector, make sure that your place is clean, make sure that your food is stored properly, make sure that the ovens or whatever grills you use, that they reach a certain temperature to prevent evangelism. So you must be well prepared when you call it, especially the health inspector. The building codes also make sure that it is properly wired for your business to operate. You know they are serious about building code, especially if you are not trying to how can I say bribe the inspector. You're confident that your business can hold up and will meet the proper grade. Also, but there is a fear. I would advise everyone that goes into their own business, be sure and create a nest egg for yourself.
Yes.
A safety net for yourself. You reach a certain age, and if you have not contributed to Social Security and those things that the senior citizens depend on as a fixed income, if you have not contributed to that, you only get out of it what you put in. So I would suggest that to make sure that you secure a safety net, and that is done by don't just take the profit from the business and start splurging, buying expensive cars, clothing.
Right. Yeah, that's important. I think people sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot. They get money, and instead of reinvesting it back into a business, they will blow it. And as a result, they will find themselves uh, out of business in a real sense. So we're going to take a quick break and come right back with our guest today. And you're listening to the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we invite you to call in. You can reach us on the on-air radio network, 727-731-5192, because we want to hear from you. And of course, we're on our Blog Talk Radio networks, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891, the American Muslim 360 channel. And we appreciate all of you watching it. And MD Rabiul Islam says it's helpful. Very good, very good. Well, we're going to bring you even more helpful information because our guest today is going to help get rid of some of those fears that we have, especially when it comes to creating a legitimate business in which we can actually go through the process of getting the kinds of licenses or requirements that our business may need. And we can also make sure that we're filing our taxes and all of the documentation that is necessary. And if you are someone who is considering going into business, we want you to listen in as we get ready to bring in our guest today. A person you should know if you're in and around the Chicagoland area and wanting to start a business, wanting to be a part of someone else's business. Maybe you want to be in partnership with someone. But one of the things that we want you to do is get over the fear of business. And that is what too many people have, which keeps them from being able to be independent. You can't pass a job on to your children, but you can pass on a business. And we have been for too long depending on other people's business success to pay us. And when they make business decisions, whether they decide to relocate or replace our particular position with a machine, whatever it is, they have the right to make that decision because it's their business. But we need to empower ourselves to be able to finance our own existence, which means becoming a business owner. Whatever it is, your product that you want to provide or the service that you provide with your own creative talents, you need to know how to structure it so that it can sustain you, so that you're not living in fear of other people's decisions. That's all business is. So our guest, Lakeisha Isom, who is a business development officer, is going to come to us with some real tips on how to make that happen. And we'll hear more about an upcoming free business seminar that you need to attend so that you can go ahead and put that idea into motion. We'll be right back after this quick break. So we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in just one moment. And we want you to call in 727-731-5192 because we want to hear from you. And we'll be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's Southside. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid. And we had a temporary audio issue. Are you able to hear us, Kareem? Wonderful. Okay,
We
great.
have the Brother William Correct, and he's sharing his experience of having his own business. So he will continue to share with you. Yes, I will say that my business didn't start as a business the way Kareem started, because Kareem actually purchased a business, and he gave us all of the information that we basically needed in order to operate and maintain that business over a period of time. But there's another way that I believe that we should look at business, and because it is something that I actually did. And I will call it a hustle.
Well, William,
I started.
William, can you hold that thought for just 1 second? I want to bring in our guest, and then we want you to continue that story, because a whole lot of people started their business as a hustle, and they need to know how to take it from the hustle to the business. And that's one of the things this upcoming workshop is going to help people do. And we want you to hold on, because we definitely want to hear your story and how you made that happen. And for those who are tired of just being in fear, we want you to prepare. Even if you continue your job, think of something that you can do, that you control, so that you never have to worry about whether or not you can survive if someone fires you from a job. Always have a business on the side, or even a hustle, as our brother says, but have something that you control so that you don't feel like you're at the mercy of others. And teach this idea to your children. Well, I want to welcome our guest this morning, a sister who is handling the business over there at an institution that is helping people to become successful. Lakeisha Isom is a business development officer at Southside Community Bank, a Wintrust company. And she joins us today to give us sound advice for independent business owners. And an upcoming business seminar is going to help you make that transition to business owner from maybe hustler. Thank you so much for joining us, my dear sister, Lakeisha.
Good morning.
Oh, and don't you look fabulous today?
Put a little work in this morning.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the fact that you are in the position you're in as a business development officer. I remember when I first went into business back in 1984, I couldn't find anybody to give me guidance. And like our caller on the line was saying, a lot of people start out as a hustle. You figure out how to get people to buy stuff, everything from selling incense on public transportation to whatever it is. But those kind of people can't get a business loan.
Right, exactly.
Or hire employees that they can send a W-2 to. So
exactly right.
And you need people who can do that. So tell us a bit about what you do as a business development officer.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you. Now, as a business development officer, I'm going to put it in two ways. Okay. I have a very professional hat, and then I want to show my heart hat. Can I put it that way?
Absolutely.
So one of my jobs is to, especially with businesses, to help them be sustainable, sound, spread information that the Southside Community Bank can help you with capital and all of that good stuff. And so I go with the branch being a new branch. Now we are a Wintrust company. You know, Wintrust has been around for a very long time, but the particular branch that I'm branding right now is our Southside Community Bank. It just opened November the 1st. But of course, we have all the backing of Wintrust. Now, kind of switching off to my hard hat. One of the things that I discovered was as I'm talking to different business owners, and I love how the caller was talking about his hustle. A lot of times, and again, I'm talking from my hard hat right now. I've discovered they will come. You know, a lot of people have a good cash flow, but you know, ready to take their business to the next level. But when it came down to having just things in order, things that sustain your business, it just wasn't there. You know, I know because sometimes, you know, we're hairstylists and we only have, you know, the payments sent to our Zelle. Or we'll only take cash and then we'll put it in our personal account. Now we're ready to open up that salon, or we're ready to, you know, to venture out a little further, because now we know, as we could tell, we love hair and people are making wigs and doing all of these different things. And now it's time to get the capital. And then when you come to the bank, you'll say, hey, you know, I need some money. And now, okay, well, how long have you been in business? You technically have been in business for years, but there's no way to trace it. There's nowhere to track how long you've been in business, because we hadn't set up some foundational structure just to show that, hey, you know, I'm in business. I am a business owner. So one of my jobs is to help you do that and encourage you with it. And if I can even put it this way, I really think it's a mindset, because a lot of times, and I'm telling you, the wonderful business owners that I have, that I've come in contact with, you know, we like to call them mom and pop shops. But what's happening is these mom and pop shops are taking their children through college. They're handling mortgages and owning buildings and things of that sort. So one of the things that I always, when I'm teaching financial literacy classes, I try to really push the concept of being in order, having structure to your business, having structure to how you have things set up. And so now, if you got a question, make sure you jump in, because you know I'm a bit of a talker. but having structure on with your business, you know, so even down to have you filed with the state? Let's start there. Have you filed with the state? Does the state know you are in business? Have you branded your name, the name of your business? And I like how we were just talking a moment ago about the fear of, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. But one of the things that I really try to be a person where not only am I trying to encourage you to be foundationally sound, but I have a group of partners that maybe if you're well, let me back up 1 second. Sometimes we're scared to ask the question because of the fear of not knowing.
We think we're going to sound stupid if we ask a question. And
Exactly.
So we never ask the question, but it's usually a question everybody else has as well. So somebody needs to ask it. Now, we're going to pause for a second because I want to hear the story from our caller, and then make some points, because they probably have an experience that's very common, and maybe you can give us some insight on this. So Kareem, our caller, can you give us your name again and tell us a bit about the business that you had and how you transitioned from a hustle to a business?
William Kareem from New York City.
Yes, William Kareem from New York City. Thanks for calling, William.
Thank you. This is a very good program, and it's very timely, especially with the current environment that we basically live in, because I see a lot of hustling going on. But the hustle that I see going on that's relative to what I did Mexicans or immigrants. I see a lot of immigrants hustling. They will set up a shopping cart or some kind of and just sell a product. And it's because it's a desperation situation where they have to make money. And so that was the situation that I was in. I couldn't get a job, and I needed to make some money. And I went for the sandwich and a milkshake. The milkshake was watery. The sandwich was greasy. And I walked, 5 blocks in order to get it. And so I couldn't complain because I got the sandwich, put it in the bag, and came home. And that's when I found out that I was disappointed in the sandwich. And so the idea came to me that there's probably other people that are dissatisfied too. So I felt that there was a need in the community that a quality sandwich should be provided with. So what I did is I took $3.74 and made 7 chicken sandwiches. And the 7 chicken sandwiches that I made, I basically sold them to my friends. But the hardest part about the hustle at that point was, I wasn't known as, everyone is selling drugs and, all kinds of other to step out into the world and tell the world that I'm selling sandwiches. I got 7 sandwiches not in a shopping cart, but in a paper bag, and I want people to buy it. And the hardest thing for me to do was to step off the sidewalk and go into the world and tell people that I had sandwiches, 7 chicken sandwiches in my bag. And when I was doing that, I went around the corner to my friends, and I said, yeah, I got some hot chicken sandwiches, and they were shooting crap, and the guy was shooting crap stopped, and he looked at me, he said, man, I know the thing. I said, right. I said, no, I got sandwiches in the bag. And he turned around and kept on shooting. One of my friends, he said, well, how much are they? And I told him it was $1. And he tried it, and then they asked him, well, how does it taste? And he said, well, it tastes good. And so in 5 minutes, I sold out those 5 chicken sandwiches, those 7 chicken sandwiches. So the point is that I invested $3.74. I sold the 7 chicken sandwiches, and then I invested the $7, made 14 chicken sandwiches, and then the 14 chicken sandwiches I turned into 28 chicken sandwiches.
Okay.
I started selling other products too. That was that, and so
wow, that's an entrepreneur.
In the community, and the problem that I had was that I continued to hustle, and I couldn't transition from a hustle to a business. I couldn't do it. I just didn't know what to do. I guess I was satisfied with just making $100 a day selling, sandwiches.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that story, William, because that's where a lot of people get stuck. They got a product, it's going well, they're making an income, but they can't transition to that next level of perhaps a sandwich shop. And Kareem, our co-host, he was telling a story earlier about how he and his wife actually opened a restaurant, and they did the smart thing. They wanted to buy the building that they were in, but the owner wouldn't sell it to them. But that tends to be the point where you totally own your business. But a lot of people, they don't know how to make that transition. And of course, I heard the story of Ray Kroc, who everybody credits with McDonald's. He's not the founder of it. It was 2, brothers named McDonald's that founded it, but he was the one that established McDonald's being really a real estate owner, where you buy your property and then you create your establishment. So tell us, Lakeisha, and a lot of people probably are at the position where William's in. How do you make that transition to business owner?
Yeah, I think, and I know I keep saying this, it's really your mindset. Everything that that's worth having is worth working for. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So for an example, and I love that story, because you have the idea, and again, that's where I start. It starts in your mind and how you see it. So you got the product. So then it's time to start doing the research. And research sometimes is coming to a seminar, shameless plug, to understand, okay, let's we have a name. Let's get the name established. And it's small things that we think that's huge. You literally can go on the internet and get your business established within it doesn't even take you can really get it done in a day if you're dedicated. Now it takes a little time for paperwork and responses, but if you dedicate that time getting the name established, making sure you have your EIN number, and I'm not going to dive too deep into the different, like if you want to be a sole proprietor, if you want to have a partnership or LLC, which is really huge right now. And there's a couple myths to that, but we won't get into all of that right now. But seeing how do you want your business established? And it's okay to transition from having a sole proprietor going to a corporation. And a lot of these things is really a matter of how, because you own this. What do you want your business to look like? And it's really, really important that we don't, because your business is a separate entity. Even though you are your business is a separate entity. So, which means now, God forbid, if something goes awry, you want to be able to keep thriving personally while you're working out some details with your business. But the problem is, because we commingle everything together, you take one hit, you've taken a hit in every area because we hadn't established that business to be its own entity. But again, it really takes that mindset saying, hey, I'm going to take out the time to get the information, understand the information, and don't be afraid to ask the questions. Whenever I'm teaching, and I'm sorry, last point I'm gonna make, whenever I'm teaching a financial literacy class, I really try, whether I'm talking to business owners or my regular I just need an account folks, let's take off the mask, because we're not going to get anywhere if we don't really get to the root of what we're trying to, the problem, or what we really want to know. Let's not just bow our head and say, okay, when you really don't have a good understanding. There's a proverb that says, in all that getting, get a good understanding.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something that's very important. For people that are in business and those that have a desire, mix the fund. You should have a separate business account from your personal account. That I think that is very important also, that you have a separate account specifically aimed for your business and not mix the funds with your personal account.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't push that enough, because, for an example, we have a term that's called bankable. And so, say for an example, no matter what your business is, if you're there's business owners that sells literal cute little bracelets that you get from Amazon that you put together, maybe make names or what have you. No matter what the business is, right? When you have that business account set up, that when you come to the bank, we're going to ask you for financials. The money that goes inside of the business that shows that your business has a cash flow. So you absolutely want to keep that separate, because when you're getting ready to maybe apply for a loan or a line of credit, which you always want to, again, another shameless plug, which you always want to do before you need it. If you have that account set up, and again, and I really want to take some fear out of that. Like, for an example, now, Southside Community Bank, which most banks have, but of course I'm pushing my own. We have an account that's called an entrepreneur checking account where there's no minimum balance. You're just starting out. There's not a monthly fee if you get your statement sent online, which most people do. And so you virtually have a free account that's set up properly for your business, and you don't have the stress of, because a lot of time people think you have all these different nuances because I have a business account. It's really just like you maintain your personal checking account, you maintain that business account. And as you keep growing, just like you got you may have, now I'm going to make a joke here, a lot of times you'll ask the husband, what's an account, oh, my wife handles that. But with that business, you're going to say, hey, I got somebody that handles that part, someone that kind of help you walk you through that.
Yeah. One thing I would want to say, just from my years of experience, even if you have an accountant that helps you with your books, or you have a tax preparer, still always know the details of your financial situation. I remember the story that Steve Harvey told. Now, of course, mega successful, but he had to work his behind off to pay back taxes that weren't filed because his tax preparer just didn't file it, and he didn't know. And a lot of times people rely on someone else to handle those things. I think Oprah Winfrey said that the advice she got from Bill Cosby, another millionaire, always sign your own checks. I think people get intimidated with finance. They don't think they're smart enough to understand it. Well, you don't have to have a degree in accounting to know how to add 1 + 1 = 2, because that's all it is.
Really?
But I think a lot of people they are intimidated with the idea of bookkeeping, and they're intimidated with the idea of taxes. And that's kind of the stumbling block where people stop, and they don't think they're smart enough to do some basic things like you just said. Get a business account separate from your personal account, and just pay attention to what expenses can come under business and what can come under personal, and don't mix the two. It's just a matter of taking the time. So before we take a break, we got about 4 minutes to take a break. Give us some tips on how to set up your bookkeeping so that you don't commingle the funds. Like, you're spending your business money that maybe should be going to an expense, or maybe or something, and you're buying your groceries with it, but you're not officially paying yourself a salary so that you can track, which is business, which is personal. What are some ways people can avoid those things?
You really said it, even in the example. All the money that's coming from your business, you really want to put that in your business account, and in just simple terms, pay yourself. But you want to do that in a very orderly, structured way. For an example, if you now, I don't necessarily recommend paying yourself every day, but set it up for yourself. Pay yourself weekly, and not making it a habit to keep going inside of that business account. It's just like when you think of maybe the major company, they're not paying you every single day a paycheck. So just from simple terms, from a mindset, give yourself a payday. Set your salary. You own this business. This is you. And so if you set it up in a structural way, that's if I could give a one-liner, that's initially where you want to start, to make sure that you got all those funds going into the account, and then you start to pay yourself. And even if you end up paying yourself most of it, but at least there's a structure, because it's really creating that habit.
Right. Because you got to do that before you get into the habit of paying employees. You've got to be able to have a structure to pay yourself, and not just dip into the bank account whenever you need something. And that's, I think that is the big step that people need to know how to take. Well, if you're watching us on our Female Solution Facebook page or YouTube channel, then you see we've got up on the screen the flyer for the Business Essential Workshop happening this Saturday, June 1st.
This Saturday.
12 noon. And this is an event. If you're in and around the Chicagoland area, you need to attend. It's at the
Absolutely.
it's of course sponsored by the Southside Community Bank, a Wintrust Community Bank, in collaboration with Project Hood, and that is a group that Bishop Corey Brooks founded, and he has been instrumental in creating things that change the situation and solve the problems.
There you go.
He's one of those pastors that takes the teachings of the gospel and works it so
That's
that
right.
it actually works. And so we're so grateful. And let me see. I'm sorry, I'm so vain. I don't have my glasses on. So I have I'm always telling my host, don't have your head all in the screen so people see the forehead. So let me follow my own advice. So tell us where it's located at. It is at it's on the flyer here.
Yeah, the New Beginnings is in the New Beginnings Church. The address is 6620 South King Drive in Chicago. We'll have a light breakfast, networking, and we're going right in and we're going to unmask. We're going to get down to not just the basics of banking. If we could have named this and it was marketable, it'll be Business Before 101.
Oh,
so
yes.
we're really gonna get into it.
Yes.
I really encourage you guys to really come out.
And it's what you expect important when you approach a lending institute to
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I think I missed that.
Oh, right. Yes. Matter of fact, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk about that. He said, can you expound on how important it is when you're approaching a lending institution to have a comprehensive business plan? That's a key thing. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a quick break and come right back and talk about that. How do you develop a business plan? Well, that means you got to have a vision of where you're going.
Yeah.
You don't
need me, Naima. You don't need me.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We got we got some remarks here. Yes, our Monday morning mindfulness host Zelda says, "Grand Rising, beautiful, awesome sisters. Thanks for sharing this information because we definitely need it." Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Time for us to take care of business.
That's
all
it.
Right. Well, we will be right back after this quick break. So we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in just one moment. So just stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
I want.
Yes. One more break, and then we'll be right back.
There we go.
Hi, this is John Alexander.
And I'm Naima Latif. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world.
Big difference.
Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/The Media Connection TV.
YouTube it. We'll see you soon.
Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our guest, Lakeisha Isom, a business development officer and vice president. There we go. All right. She's been working, y'all. She's one of them people in charge at the Southside Community Bank, a Wintrust community bank. And they, in collaboration with Project Hood, are sponsors of a free business essential workshop. Free, emphasize free. You need to come so you can learn.
Yeah.
And this is happening this Saturday, June 1st, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Just 2 hours to change your life. And there's registration, breakfast, networking. And the workshop will give you an opportunity to learn how to set up your business accounts. All the things we talk about, commingling funds, how not to do that. Business credit, business credit, because that's another thing, especially in people's personal credit. They need to know how to establish business credit.
You got it.
And then personal credit and how it affects your business capital. So these are things we need to know. And a lot of times these are the things we're afraid of because we've made a lot of mistakes. And I know I made a lot of mistakes when I first started into business in 1984. I knew nothing and I couldn't find anybody to mentor me. And I made all the mistakes. I thought, okay, if you got a credit card, you can buy things that you need. But then I didn't have a cash flow for my business. So then I ended up, not paying the credit card back and blew my credit. Just all the wrong things that you can do. I did them because I didn't know. And,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I was in check system for a long time for, overdrafts and what I couldn't open a bank account until I paid off the money. So, I made all the mistakes. So we
all have
people who So you need to go to
Yeah.
this seminar and learn how not to make those mistakes. So now our co-host Kareem Hamid was asking that you talk about a business plan, and that's what a lot of people tend not to know that they should have. How does a person go about planning where they're going to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? What do you need to do to make that happen?
Well, the initial start is, and the key word is plan. Because now, again, taking the fear out of it, we think that it has to be set up. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a structure to a business plan. But where you start, jot down all the things that you want to see happening in your business. How will your business run? And I know this is going to sound a little unconventional, but it's proven, and I promise it'll work. If you jot down all of these ideas, don't worry about what needs to go first, or just jot them all down. Then you start to organize. Who do you want in your business? What because you maybe you're selling a product, or maybe whatever your business is, just write it down. There's another proverb that says, if you write the vision, make it plain. Like, understand that means to break it down to the lowest form, down to who's going to who's responsible for the day-to-day activities. Get the business plan together. And so what you do is, once you have all of those ideas, then you start to organize them. And if I could put it in simple terms, from priority, right? How will your business function? And one of the pieces I want to add to this is this. A lot of times when a business owner will come in, and a lot of times they'll need capital, right? And so one of the reasons that we look at this business plan is to see, is what you're asking matching what you've planned? Let that settle for a second. Because if you haven't taken out the time to thoroughly think about where you're going, you're asking us to take a risk on something that haven't been thought out. Does that make sense? And so that is why it's vitally important that you take out the time and write it down. And so then there's a lot of folks, a lot of great nonprofits that will help you with that business plan. There's even templates, that, because sometimes, like, even with myself, right? I'm a bit of a talker because I'm a talker. This is my part of my job. But in all honesty, it's a little unnerving. Sometimes I just need you to ask me the question, because I don't know what question to even answer. Does that make sense? So when you put that business plan together, you sometimes you just need to, okay, let me ask you the question, you fill in the blank, then we start kind of putting it together. But again, it's vitally important that you have that vision wrote down, even if it's in not necessarily in chronological order. Just get it down, and we can kind of help get that structure, but very important.
Yeah, know where you're going. Well, we have a caller on the on-air radio network line. I didn't catch her name. Did you have a question or a comment for our guest, Lakeisha Isom, the business development officer? Do you have a question or comment? Our caller on the on-air radio network. It just says anonymous, so I can't see a name. Well, just unmute and let us know when you have a question or comment. And let's see, we got one. Okay, you can open their mic. Go right ahead.
Okay, area code 773-449. To the People Solution. Please your name and where you calling from.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Samir Muhammad Shahid, Brother Kareem, and Sister Latifa. Oh, this is so interesting and so timely. I tell you, I knew about Wintoast a long time ago, and I lost contact with you because I opened my business as an LLC, and I am clearly know that I did not have all my components in place, but I had the merchandise to work with business, And now listen to you that I really need to be a part of a course or a class or a seminar to break my pants. What I want to ask teacher is when you do besides the seminar that's coming up Thursday, which is 13th, because I am here in Chicago, what do you have going forward that would take a person from A to Z and establishing a thorough knowledge of working the business? Because a lot of times people start businesses and the responsibility that comes with managing those businesses can sometimes be very intimidating, especially if you're a sole proprietor. I would like to know, going forward, what you have available as far as courses to help us along.
Yes, thank you for that
Okay,
question.
Naomi, help me. It broke up just a little bit. Help me to understand make sure I understand the question.
Samira, is that Samira, right? Samira?
Amira.
Oh, Amira. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me correct it on screen. Okay, so Amira wants to know she says she's going to attend this seminar. She's here in Chicago, but she wants to know, do you have any other courses or classes that perhaps you conduct on an ongoing basis for people who are, trying to establish a business?
Yes, we do. We have what we call Money Smart classes. And when you attend the seminar, and what we do is we ask when you register if you want a little bit of one-on-one time. And what I do is we set up one-on-ones, and we kind of assess, lack of a better choice of words, what do you need? And so with that assessment, whether it's myself or my partners, we get together and, to try to get, not only get you the information, but be resourceful. Whether it's capital, whether it's making sure that your accounts are sound. So definitely if you come to the seminar, let's get you registered. And there's a section on the registration that will allow us to understand a little better, and we'll set up a one-on-one time. You come into the office, or even we meet you, and we really take out our time to, make sure that you're all right. Can I say it that way? That's my hard hat.
I like that. Yeah, that is wonderful. There are a lot of people who may have a vision of where they would like their business to end up, but they don't necessarily know what are the steps to get there. Like I've talked to a lot of people say, well, what do you want to eventually do? They might be starting out little entrepreneurs and say, oh, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, that's a good goal.
Right.
How do you get there? And they don't have a clue,
Yeah.
So
can I add this to it?
Show people?
Right. It is. But one of the things is, I keep pushing concepts. There is steps, and let's really drive home steps. And I can't give them all today, but you have to know that there's a step 1, and then there's a step 2, and you can't get discouraged when you're moving to step 3 because you're ready to be at 7. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep making those steps, and then understanding, because again, anything that's worth having is worth waiting for and working for. Those two things go hand in hand. Working, the wait part is really, wait doesn't mean don't do anything. Wait is the process, right? So
yes.
When you're making those steps, understanding, and I love, one of the things is, I pay a lot of attention to, and I'm gonna respectfully say this. When there are resources available to you, it's free. And I am pushing our Business Essential Workshop. Again, shameless plug. But it's free. You eat. It doesn't take long. And if you want to have enough concern about your business, your thing, to make that sacrifice to come. So, it get really difficult when those things are set up, but you don't want to pay the price to be able to get the information to make sure that business is sound. I hope that landed good. I love you all.
Great. Well, I think that's a key point. 6620 South King Drive is where it's located. 6620 South King Drive. If you're in Chicago, you know that's right off Marquette Road. You know, King Drive
That's
is
it.
just east of State Street. So you need to be there. I mean, 10 to 12, 2 hours out of your time, you get a chance to network, meet some people. And network is important because a lot of times you meet the people that can help you in your business. They might be in the promotion business or the media business, like myself. You know, I'll be there.
Exactly.
And then, yes, but you need those people because once you get into business, people got to know you're in business. That's why we're here. That's why we keep telling you all, look, you know, people need to know you're here. But then you might find people who are maybe you might meet an accountant or might meet a lawyer. You might need somebody who can help you in the areas that you don't have and you don't know. So it's okay not to know things, but you just need to know people who do know so that you can do the right things. I when I started out and the first business I had, I started out doing just lawn care service. I was hiring neighborhood children to do cut people's grass. And I had a vision of, you know, what I wanted to be. Oh, I'm going to employ the whole neighborhood. But I didn't know about withholding taxes and stuff like that. So this was a summer program. Back then, children making like what, $5 an hour, something real basic. Yeah. But the accountant that worked with me, the way he set up my books made it look like I had a multi-million-dollar corporation, all these 20 employees and all that. I mean, but the way it looked like in the books, you know, the IRS said, well, you know, you owe withholding taxes from all these employees. And I'm like, me, you know. So what I learned from that is that sometimes the way you're employing people, they need to be independent contractors as opposed to employees. And so, you know, I eventually resolved the issue with the IRS, but it was kind of painful. Just, you know, it was one of those lessons like, oh, I didn't know. And, you know, these are not full-time employees. It was like, okay, this one might mow a lawn this day, another might mow a lawn the other day. It wasn't like they were, you know, hourly employees getting paid $5 an hour every day for 8 hours a day. They wasn't like that. But I didn't know that there's a way you have to set up your structure so that it's clear that these are not people that are full-time employees. They're contractual workers.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things is like, you know, because a lot of times we don't know, right? Like when I go into a room, no matter what knowledge I think that I have, I come very open because I know what I know, but I need to know what you know. And I want to add this in there, especially, you know, because most business owners, they have a certain amount of assertiveness, they have a certain mindset, and all of these good things, right? But it's so I can't express it enough, vitally important that not only when you're going after the information, my dad used to use the term eat the fish and spit out the bones. Maybe every single piece, you know, that, you know, certain things you may know, but you're going to be able to pull out something that you didn't realize, right? And so then, there are so many groups, because like for an example, there's a group that we work with, and I'm not going to tell you now because I want you to show up at the Business Essential workshop that takes their time to really. It's a whole operation that takes you from step, like to understand, like for an example, your setup, right? Because I'm a financial institution. My job is to try to get you some money and to hold your money and make your money work for you, right? Now, we happen to be very resourceful, but we collab with people. We get partners to make sure that you're holistically sound. So don't be afraid to, like you were talking about networking, don't be afraid to get with people, because maybe it's not your particular avenue, but you can learn so much just about business, you know, people that have been established in business. I love how you just told that story, and I'll say this quickly, that, you know, like certain things you didn't know. So now you're able to share this information because you've been through the fire to understand this doesn't work. That is why it's important. Network, get with people that understand, because it's going to be a lot of new business owners and aspiring business owners. But we're also going to have people there that have been in business that understand. They'll give some tips saying, hey, you, like you said, you don't want to do that. You want to get this information. So yeah, I really encourage you to come out to this workshop. It's going to be phenomenal. And you can probably tell by my personality, it's like, what, 6 a.m. right now? I'm kidding. But, we're going to bring a lot of energy. We're going to bring, and it's going to be fun. So yeah, I think it'll be very enjoyable and time well spent.
That is great. And I think Kareem had a question or a caller. Go right ahead.
I have a question and several callers on the line.
Okay.
How important is it to classify your business? There are different designations, LLC.
That's a good question.
Sole proprietor, corporation. How important is that? And that is of setting up your business under the right head. That's my question.
I'm sorry, can you help me understand the question? It broke up just a little bit.
He was saying, how important is it to classify your business? And I know that, a lot of people don't know what those different classifications are, like a sole proprietor, a corporation, or an LLC. How do you decide what the structure should be for your business, or even a partnership? Yeah, how do you decide?
Yeah,
what's the structure?
It really comes to how you want your business ran. Now, that's kind of a loaded question for a short amount of time. But if I would give a short answer, it would be, how do you want the structure of your business? And then, and I know, like, sometimes listening to the word structure may seem a little uncomfortable, but this is where we want to talk about, like, because so usually if I'm sitting in front of y'all, say, tell me a little bit about your business, and just let you talk. And what we do is we pull out, like, for an example, maybe it's just you and someone else, or maybe, hey, this is my business, my venture, and again, a loaded question for a short time, but really comes down to how you want the setup. And there are a lot of folks that can really help help you work through that, because we'll ask the right questions to understand what that answer should be. I hope I helped you there.
Yeah, and one thing I would say, well, let me ask this question, because I know we're coming up the next 4 minutes, but we've got a few calls. Lakeisha, I know you got to get your day started, but is it possible you could stay a little bit after the break and answer a couple of questions from the audience?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, one question we've got, Deborah, our third Saturday host, says, blessings to you and the workshop opportunity. Will the event be live streamed?
We're working on that. We're working on that, because we have to watch from a privacy standpoint. Some of the questions they may ask more specifically to that business. Right. So we're working out some details. Yeah. I apologize for not having that answer.
Well, maybe a certain portion of it that before you get into, people's personal questions. That could be it. So yeah, thanks for that.
Sometimes you don't know what they're going to ask, so we have to try to, from a privacy standpoint, be in the bank.
They might be telling all their business, and they don't realize the whole world is watching.
Exactly. And there you go.
Thanks, Deborah. We appreciate that.
We got to be a little careful.
Yeah, definitely. And well, let's take a caller before we take a break, since she said she can stay over a little. So let's take one of the callers you have, Kareem.
727-741. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Martha Naila Abdullah, calling from St. Petersburg, Florida, and greetings of peace to everyone. Definitely to our guest this morning, Ms. Isom. My question is, in reference to a business that tax time. My husband was an over-the-road truck driver. He was an over-the-road truck driver. He was self-employed, but he worked through a company already developed. in order to get his run. But I had to do a lot of the paperwork. And yes, there was a moment of the IRS auditing, and the auditors were very misguided. They didn't have any knowledge about trucking, and so they misread a whole lot of things, and we wound up getting charged thousands of dollars. But we just thought. But my question is the importance of taxes and things about the business plan and all of that. But tax time, how to stay a student of that, but seeking a law or attorney that can help you through when you get audited.
So are you asking, are there attorneys available that can help you if you have tax issues? And would it be an attorney that would help you, or would it be an accountant that helps you? Maybe you can tell us that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So the question is.
Yes.
So now, what's the question? You say your husband was independent trucker, so he's kind of an independent contractor.
Right.
He worked with a company, but the people who you say they were audited. His taxes were audited, but they didn't really understand the trucking business.
Yes, we were audited by IRS. And at that time, we submitted to like H&R Block. We used them, but they were not beaten. The auditors were not knowledgeable. IRS auditors not knowledgeable of the trucking industry. And therefore, we had to seek an attorney. And I'm saying how important it is to already have an attorney accessible in those times. But we were charged a lot of money. But had we not had an attorney, the money that we weren't paying something because of this deficit, but of knowledge.
Oh yes, yeah. That sounds like definitely a common situation. When people hear they're going to get audited by the IRS, usually there's a panic because they think, "Oh, I'm going to jail," So how important is it to have have an attorney already available for things like this, so that you can avoid mistakes, or just know that if there's any kind of legal issue that you're representing? And what kind of, there's one point I wanted to make before we take a break. A lot of people will get an attorney because they're an attorney, but they might be a criminal lawyer, and what they really need is a business lawyer. So if they're going to get somebody to help them with their business.
Yeah, you said it exactly right. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to do that's not necessarily my perfect expertise there, but in recommendation, there are different types of attorneys. And again, I always like to say have resources, because sometimes life is unexpected. So to be able to have an attorney, or again, I'll say a resource to be able to that is their expertise, because there are there are lawyers that deal with a lot of those issues more specifically. So again, you want to make sure that you have the right one. I wouldn't necessarily put them on my payroll, but I would have a resource to be able to call if things come up, if I was to give some advice on that.
That makes sense. Well, we got to take one last break, and you said you've got some minutes to stay with us. We'll be able to take some more.
I do.
Oh, well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Well, we will be right back. We are talking to Lakeisha Isom, who is a business development officer with the Southside Community Bank, a Wintrust company. And she's joining us to give us some sound advice for someone who's ready to go into business, and to invite us to an upcoming free seminar. What's the address again? Let me pull it up on the screen. 6620 South King Drive. You need to be there because we need more businesses to be successful, so that we can employ more people, so that we can remove the poverty cycle that is in too many of our communities.
That's right.
successful business can do that. So we'll be right back after this last break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family on the AM 360 network. And you're also listening on the on-air radio network. And we're excited because, of course, we are growing and expanding. We'll be offering more programming during the day on the on-air radio network. So we want to always bring you some empowering information. And today, our guest is an empowering woman, Lakeisha Isom, who is a business development officer and vice president, in case you didn't know. So that means she got some authority, y'all. And we're inviting you to a free business essential workshop, June 1st. That's Saturday. And that's 10 a.m. to 12 noon, just 2 hours out of your day that can change your life. And the Southside Community Bank, a Wintrust Community Bank, is in collaboration with Project Hood, who are sponsoring this workshop. And this is at 6620 South King Drive in Chicago. And you're going to learn some very important topics. We'll talk about business accounts, commingling funds, business credit, personal credit, and how it affects your business capital. So get there at 10 o'clock. You can register, get some breakfast, do some networking, and you may meet some people that are essential to the growth of your business. So be there. And we're just so excited that Pastor Corey Brooks is reaching out to the business community. Now, that was one thing that I didn't have when I started out. I knew a lot of church pastors, but unfortunately, they knew how to start a nonprofit, which is fine, but I needed somebody who could show me how to operate a for-profit business. And everybody kept saying, well, why don't you make this a non-profit? I'm like, no, I want this to be a business. I want people to get paid for, it was great. It grew from a lawn care service to hiring contractors and doing things like roofing and carpentry and painting. And so we went from hiring children to hiring grown men. And what I learned is that a lot of the men in our community had skills, but they had worked for someone else. And so they didn't know necessarily how to price things because other people had done that. So sometimes I might underprice things or, kind of spend the money that's supposed to go for materials and then they didn't have it and then they had to buy the cheap stuff and then the client was angry. Mm-hmm. So I had all kinds of things happen. But I learned that although we might have skills when we work for someone, if we don't learn the management end of it, it's hard to make that transition from employee to entrepreneur. So
good.
What kinds of things, if a person is working, whatever it is, whether in an office or outside doing physical labor, and they say, well, I'm the one doing all the work. I should be my own business person. What are some things they should study in the place that they're working so they can perhaps learn the management and administrative end of it?
Naima, I love how when you ask the question, you really give some good nuggets in the question. You're right. Study. You gotta study. You gotta, and a lot of times, and I hate to say it, sometime in our communities, and I hope I can say that very respectfully, we don't look for mentors. We don't look for people that when I think of a mentor, if I could put it in my own words, I am so fortunate to have my manager as one of my mentors. He didn't even know that he got in that spot. But what he began to do was he looked at all my energy, what I brought to the table, and he took his expertise and started helping me structure and understand and just not and I when I say I don't spend a great deal of time with him, I may steal a 15-minute here, 20-minute there. So my point of saying it is this: you need someone in your circle that's in a position of where you're trying to get to. Because one thing, I'm gonna tell, because like, you ever seen someone that best example I could give is people that are not moms can always tell you how to be the perfect mom.
Yeah,
it's not like
ain't raising their child.
Exactly. If this was me, well, it's not you, because you don't know, you can't relate,
Right.
So I say that to say, you want to, if you're because you are doing the work, but you have to understand, especially because literally I was just managing 2 branches shortly ago, maybe 2 months ago. I've been in this role now 2 months as a business development officer, but all the rest of the time I was a branch manager. And when it's a whole different, because when I have to keep a 360 view, the person that's working usually keeps a 180. They're only focused on this task, and this task. But when you're running something, you have to look at it all. And one of the things, if I had a lesson, because I'm a worker, my dad was from Mississippi, so hey, you're gonna put your hand to the grind. But I had to learn I can't do it all, and so it's little things that if you're a worker, you think you can, I'll do this, but there's not even enough time in a day to be able. So you need to be able to manage or have some structure to a process to be able to get others to, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the key in management. Can you get others working together toward the same goal?
That is
that's my a nugget.
Yes, that's such a powerful thing, because I see so many people, they're in business, but they're doing everything, and you can't do everything, and and be efficient. But it's hard.
There you go.
They can't figure out how do you make that transition from the one person operation to someone who has a staff of people, so that you can have people you can delegate things to. That's where a lot of people are stuck. And I don't know if it's either they don't trust people enough, or maybe they don't quite have the cash flow to pay them a full-time salary, but they have a difficult time letting go of the responsibilities of trying to do everything. And as a result, they just get stuck right there. We've got a comment here. Let me bring up Mama Joy Segura, who is our second Saturday host. She says,
"Oh, great.
I agree. We need more successful businesses in our community. So many are in business and not in compliance to get resources to assist small businesses because they're not set up right. That means that some of our community businesses who have been in business for decades do not qualify to take advantage of those offerings. Thank you, Naima, for your guest this morning. Thanks, Lakeisha Isom. Yes,
thank you
that
for the
is
comment.
such a major thing. And we will holler racism in a minute when we don't get funds. But the things that they ask for, and sometimes they'll ask for things like, well, can you bring us 3 years tax returns? Well, if you haven't filed your taxes 1 year, because you're taking your money, like our caller earlier, William was talking about, okay, you're selling your sandwiches and they're popular. So now what do you do? Okay, you sell your sandwiches, you spend the money, you sell your sandwiches, spend your money. If the city had money for restaurants or sandwich shops or whatever, and you'd have to come with your corporate papers or your partnership papers or whatever, and then you show your bank records and your tax returns. If you don't have any of that, even though you got a cash flow and you're selling your sandwiches, you can't qualify. So they're not being racist. They're saying this is what a business has to have in place in order to qualify for us to give you money, because we need to be able to track the money that you make so we know you can pay it back, or whatever the case may be, or you can fulfill your obligations. So
I'm sending you virtual hugs right now. that is so key. And that's one of the things that when I'm teaching, I'm sorry, I'm getting motivated. Let me stop yelling.
That's good. You don't get all this energy on Saturday, y'all.
Like, oh my God, that's it. Like when I'm teaching financial literacy classes, you know what I do? Like quickly, we'll be in this big room, right? And I'm very professional, and I shut the door and I start getting in your face. Look, let me tell you, this is the issue. It's not that the paperwork doesn't even tell the color of your skin.
Right.
The paperwork is saying you don't have the paperwork. Right. I can't even present it without the paperwork. That is why, family, if you would, now I'm gonna tell you, it's really a mindset, right? I hope I can share this. I'm not saying it's so respectful, and I feel like I'm at home. Like I've been in rooms that was a lot different than mine, than the rooms I'm accustomed to, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them didn't look like me, nor were there. I know we got this whole I consider myself, I identify as a female, so they wasn't the same. Got to get that all situated. Forgive me if I'm messing it up. But so when I looked around the room, it was a lot different. But one of the things that my mentor, my manager, he really taught me, like, look, I understand initially this seems intimidating, but come to the room prepared.
Yes.
There is safety and preparation.
Yes.
And so no matter, because if we could take on the mindset, well, this and like that, it had almost 9.5 times out of 10. Again, and I'm probably giving out too many secrets here. It had nothing to do with what you look like. Can you imagine? So when a person is sitting in front of you, now everybody doesn't wear a heart hat like Keisha does. And I'm not saying that I'm so great, because I find myself in that too. When someone, that they're getting ready to waste your time. In this regard, not that you don't care, not that you don't want to help, but if I'm asking you, hey, can I just get a bank statement? I only use the Chime card. Okay. Well, how about because I had this one gentleman quickly that they were getting ready to apply for some funding. Their credit, and we're going to talk about this a little bit at the workshop. Their credit, their personal credit was shot.
Yeah.
And so we either can say, hey, how about give me 12 months of maybe rental? You say you rent 12 months of rental payments to show that you have some form. Now, this is what the bank is looking at. Some form of consistency that you will. Now, even though you have burned Capital One, you have burned this and that, you have burned all three. But I'm still gonna, I don't. Maybe life happened. Can you show me 12 months of just 1 year of you paying your? I didn't even say on time. Just in the month.
You paid it.
That you paid it. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have bank statements.
Oh no.
So
I've known people, they won't open a bank account. They do all their business through the currency exchange. So they have no record. Everything is cash and
when you
carry.
get a chance of invite me back to talk. I'm only going to talk about currency exchanges. When I come back,
wow.
that's the only thing I want to talk.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just not being in order. And so you're right. You're so right. If we would just take out the time, you know what I'm saying? Because you shouldn't always. I learned something. I was taking. I'm sorry. I always give too many details. I was taking this class and blah blah blah. But you can't live off of grace your whole life.
Ooh,
Like you can't. That can't be. See, grace is allotted for situations. Circumstances can arise, but you can't live a lifestyle of grace. Does that make sense?
Too many people are doing that. Yes, too many people are doing it. Kareem, do you have any other callers you want to bring in? And I think we got a caller on the on-air network. But Kareem, let us know if you have another caller. And let me check
our. I do. 773-449. Please state your name and where you're calling from. I think this is a previous caller.
I'm sorry. I thought I was muted out. I don't have another question.
Okay. All right.
Okay, area code 706-627. Appreciate your name and where you're calling from.
Muhammad, Pop Muhammad, by the way, of Columbus, Georgia. And I appreciate much what was discussed. And the sister who was doing the presentation, you have an excellent uniqueness about that God gives you. And I pray that your faithfulness will guide you into. I was looking at the figures after a while. There's 4,000 banks here in the United States of America that's tied together by one rope, the Federal Insurance Commission. And then there's only 25 Islamic banks. And I know you probably have a lot of familiarity with other cultural and community lifestyles that people have, but they still need finance, to help be a part of contributing to the society development. And that makes things better for everyone. So I pray that from this program here today, that you will look more into the restrictions that people's ways of life have on them, like you're doing now. You're talking about the financial part of it. But we have to look at other things that interfere with them and have made them not be able to get along because of not having a balanced life their own self, other than balancing their books. So I appreciate much of what you've been saying, but again, there's 4,000 banks tied to the rope of the federal FICC, what is the federal, we know what I'm saying. And then there's the 25 banks here in America that are certified to Islamic banks. If you look out for the problems that those people are facing, because of what their faith might have, and not putting yourself in an unbalanced situation, especially when it comes to borrowed money, something that they have to keep their word about and repay back in order to continue to grow. So I was hoping that some of your presentation will cover some of that area right there. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you for that comment. We appreciate your call. Thank you so much. So, yeah, and there are a lot of people that, yes, and there are a lot of people that worry about, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kareem, you were saying?
Well, what the brother was referring to is honesty. We have to remain honest and don't be corrupt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a.
And how we treat our customers is important. Customer service is almost unknown now. A service with a smile goes a long way.
Oh, for sure. Well, now speaking of treating people, there's one other thing, and we kind of talked about this. When people are trying to get to the point where they can pay people to do the things they need done, sometimes they'll rely on, say, family members. I've known a lot of people that maybe their family owned a business and they didn't quite have the cash flow yet to pay salaries to employees. So it's like everybody in the family worked the business, but you didn't really get paid. And because I've had some friends growing up, they worked in the family business, and all the family members worked in the business, but they didn't really get paid because it took a while for them to get the income. That can be difficult, because sometimes people have an attitude if they don't really want to be there and they got to do this because this is a family, but they're not really happy. And so, like what Kareem was talking about, service with a smile, I've noticed sometimes that people who are working in a family business and this isn't what they wanted to do, they're not really getting paid, they got to do this because this is what the family does, they're not really happy and they
Yeah.
don't really show joy. So how does a person, if you have workers that are not really wanting to work for you, what are ways that you can motivate people to work with you until you get to that point where you can either give them the salary that they want or hire the person who really wants to work there, as opposed to your son or daughter or brother or sister who's just helping you out, but they really don't want to be bothered, but they're just helping you out.
Yeah.
And their attitude shows it. So what incentives can a person give if they don't have money?
I think now this may not be a popular opinion, but sometimes we kind of start our business a little prematurely. And I'm gonna say this, and again, because I get vision, and if anybody know energy, it's myself. Because believe me, I'm keeping myself tamed at this point because I'm very. So we want to we like to get going. I want to get started because I'm that person. But like for an example, because if you start a business, and people go to work, they do expect to get paid. And you have, as a business owner, manager, and all of that good stuff, you have to understand that, now some people may, because they love you for a little bit, because they want to kind of help. But again, that's still kind of living in that grace portion. You got to set up a plan. How am I going to, because it's different if you say, hey, can you volunteer this time? There's a mutual understanding that I'm volunteering. And then because what we try to do is be the boss without, because a person could be the boss because I'm paying you for you to listen to me. And I hate to put it that way. But
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. But you really got to be able to try to start setting yourself up. That's why you want to get this capital before you need it. If you and that's where you're projecting, these business plans come into place. There's a section of projections. What do you project? I know this family, they want to open a restaurant. They bought this little food truck. It's her husband and herself. It's only those two. And now I'm gonna be honest, they work late nights. They're working, but what they're doing is building their capital so they can be able to project from that, hiring someone and projecting their salary for this amount of time while they're still building. But a lot of times we jump out there so fast without having structure, foundation and structure, what I'm saying, to make sure that not only is our business sustainable, but because I'm gonna tell you, people are a lot happier when they can eat.
Yes,
They're a lot happier when they can, because that's why it's important. And I know this sounds bad, but that's why it's really important to have, even as you as an owner, the time you open and the time you close, because instinctively you could look forward to, okay, I know that I'm going to get a break here, this and that and the other. But if you don't have that, those simple structures, you know what I'm saying, people are unhappy.
Yes,
So
that is true. And I've seen that happen when things are unstructured, not organized. People are asked to work far beyond the closing time and all kinds of things. And I've even seen situations where the business will be having financial difficulties and they'll say, well, we can't pay you this week. Something happened with the customer and they didn't pay and blah, blah, blah. So you got your employees not getting their paycheck when they plan to. That can definitely have an impact on your attitude. So, I would say, I think that's a great point that you've made. Sometimes you want to jump out there and be in business, but really you may want to have that plan together first, raise the capital first, so that at least if you're doing something that's going to require more than just you doing it, you can pay some of the people that are working for you, even if it's the professional people that you hire on a contractual basis. or part-time or whatever. But don't expect people to volunteer for 10 years while you're trying to scuffle and make your business work. And they see you paying yourself, you dipping into the funds, but then I don't quite have money to pay you. No, don't hustle people. Don't do that.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's your vision.
Right.
That was your baby. It's not their baby.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've got to go. I thank you so much for being with us. And I want to remind you all to be here. June 1st, this free business essential workshop, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, 6620 South King Drive. And that's what's the name of the church there? It is the
New Beginnings Church.
New Beginnings Church. Very appropriate title.
That's it.
New Beginnings Church. And you need to be there. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. We appreciate you for all that you do.
Thank you so much.
And we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. And
All
I'm
right.
Naila. And thank you so much, Kareem Hamid and the American Muslim 360 family and all our callers and commenters. And we will see you all tomorrow on Health and Well-Being with Viana. So come right here. Come on back to the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We'll see you then.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jareh. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.